Okay, now that we have listened to our book about the snowy day, we're going to be creating a snowy day picture. Now, in our picture, we've got something really special. We've got a snowman. How many of you like to build snowman? Raise your hand if you like to build a snowman. Awesome. I love building snowmen. They're so much fun. So, the first thing we need to do is get our pencil and make sure our paper is going the right way. Our paper is going to be going long today. Remember, this is tall and this is not what we want. We want it long. We want our picture long today because we are making what we call a landscape. It's a picture of the land. We've got the snowy ground. We've got some trees, the sky, and a snowman right there in the middle. So, once you've got your paper and your pencil, we are going to get started. And the first thing we need to do is we need to draw the line for the ground. So, we're going to start over here, down near the bottom. We don't want to come up here towards the top because then we won't have any room for our tree and our snowman. So, we're going to come down here towards the bottom. And we're just going to draw a little hill. Just a little hill. Now, is my line really wavy? No, it's not wavy at all. It's just a little hill. We don't want a lot of jagged lines. Just a nice, smooth, wavy line. Okay, so get your ground drawn. And then we're going to start drawing our trees and our snowman. Okay, now to start with our trees, we're going to put a tree over here on the right side of our paper. So I'm going to start over here. Now I don't want to come all the way to the edge. I want to come over a little bit because I got to draw this line all the way up and then it's got to take a turn over. Okay, so watch how I do this. I'm going to come up, vertical line, and then it slants over into a diagonal. Okay. So it goes up and then over. Now make sure it goes all the way to the very top of your paper. Don't take it over here to the edge. Take it all the way to the very, very top of your paper. Starts at the ground and goes all the way to the top. Now, does it have to look perfect? Nope. Remember, ish drawings. So I'm going to come over a little bit. And I'm going to draw another line up, but this time it's going to go over to the other side. But again, it goes all the way to the very top of my paper. Make sure it goes to the very top of the paper. So we start at the ground and go up to the top. Okay, now to do the branches, let's look at this. Do you see a letter inside of my tree here? What letter is this? That's right, it's the letter V as in victory. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the very top of my paper. Don't start down here. At the very tip top of my paper, I'm going to start and I'm going to draw the letter V. Just like in the alphabet, the letter V. Now when I look at my tree, do you see a letter? Does this look like a letter? Does it look like the letter Y as in yellow? Yes, it does. Oh, and Y as in yes. There we go. We made a Y. So now we're going to do the same thing on the other side of our paper. So finish your V at the top and make sure it's touching the very tip top paper. Very tip top paper. Okay, now over here on this side, we're going to do the same thing. We don't want to start over here at the very edge. We want to come in a little bit because we're going to start at the ground and we're going to draw up and then a diagonal line over to the very top of our paper. Up to the very, very top. Okay, then I'm going to come over a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come up, but this time my diagonal is going to go over to the right. So I'm going to come up, and then it curves over to the right. But again, it goes all the way to the very top of my paper. Very, very tip top. And then the last thing I need to do to finish this tree is I'm going to draw what letter goes in the middle? The letter V. V as in violet or victory. V. Letter V, and that turns my tree into the letter Y. Like yellow and yes. The letter Y. And then we have 2 trees. And now all we have left to do is we're going to draw our snowman. We're going to draw our snowman. Now, snowmen have how many parts? 1, 2, 3. 3 snowballs. Snowmen have 3 snowballs. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to draw it a little bit different than I drew on here. We're going to draw 3 circles. Now, which circle is the biggest? Is it the top one or the bottom one? Which one's biggest? That's right. It's the bottom. So we're going to draw a big circle down here in between our trees. Big circle. Does it have to be a perfect circle? Nope, does not need to be a perfect circle. Just draw a big circle. Now we want to make sure when we're drawing our circles, we leave room at the top for his hat. So we got to be careful and make sure we leave a little bit of room at the top. Okay, so now we're going to draw the next circle. Now, is the next circle as big as the bottom circle? Nope, the middle circle is a little bit smaller. So I'm going to draw a smaller circle. So I've got big, medium, and then my last circle is going to be the smallest. So get these 2 circles, and then we're going to do our big circle. Or, sorry, our little circle. We already did our big circle. Big, medium, small. Okay? Small circle. Small circle on top. Now that we have our 3 circles, now we need to add our hat to the top. Okay, so remember when we were making our shape robots a long time ago? We talked about we have a circle, and when you stretch a circle, what shape does that become? It's an oval, like an egg or a racetrack. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to draw an oval on the top of our snowman. So watch how I do this, and then you're going to draw it just like me. I'm going to make an oval, and it looks like I gave my snowman a halo like an angel. So you see how I drew my oval and I drew it through the top of my head? Because a hat sits on top of your head, doesn't it? And it covers up the very tip top of your head. So draw your oval, stretched out circle, a long stretched out circle. Okay, and then on top of our oval, I'm going to make a square. So watch how I do this. I'm going to come up, vertical line, over, horizontal line, and down with another vertical line. Okay, now the hat doesn't look quite right yet, but once we color it in, it's going to fill in and you'll see it looks just fine. So get your oval and the top of your square drawn on your snowman's head, and then we got a few more things to do. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to give him a face. So we're going to give him 2 circle eyes right under his hat. And then he needs a carrot nose, which is just a triangle. I'm going to zoom in so you can see how I'm doing this. Let me move my paper over, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And that way you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to draw a triangle on its side. So I start with a little vertical line, and then I make 2 diagonal lines and a long skinny triangle for his nose. And then he's going to get a smile. So get his eyes, his carrot nose, and his smile. Then we need to give him some arms. So I'm going to draw a line coming out of the side of his body. I'm going to draw a line coming up. And then I'm going to draw 2 more fingers. Okay, now on the other side, I'm going to do it the opposite. This one's going to kind of be a diagonal going down. Draw a hand coming down. And then we're going to draw 2 more fingers. Now, do yours need to look exactly like mine? No, they don't need to look exactly like mine. Just as long as he's got some sticks for arms. Okay, now we got 2 more things we need to draw. We need to add his scarf and the buttons on his body. Okay, so his scarf. What I'm going to do is right here in my middle circle, I'm going to draw a little smiley face. Let's draw you a little smiley face. And then over here on the side, I'm going to draw a rectangle. So draw a smiley face and then a little rectangle coming down for his scarf. Okay, and then the last thing we need to do is just give him some buttons. So I'm going to draw a couple circles on the middle, and then I'm going to make a few more circles down here at the bottom. And then our snowman is finished. So we'll zoom back out so then we can get ready to start coloring. Okay, so finish up your snowman, and then we are going to get our crayons and markers and start coloring. So the first thing you're going to need is your black marker. So once you're done drawing, get your black marker. Everybody got their black marker? Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to draw over the line for our ground. We're going to trace over that line with a black marker. Okay, that's all you need to do right now is just your ground line with your black marker. Okay, now we're going to do around the bottom circle. Am I coloring in with a black marker? No, I'm not coloring in. I'm just tracing it because snow is supposed to be white, but we're just outlining it in black so it stands out. Okay, now watch how I do this one carefully. I'll zoom back in so you can see what I'm doing again. This is a good one to zoom back in on. Okay, so when I do this next circle, if you want, you can go all the way around, but watch how I'm going to do it. I'm going to start from the edges of my smiley face and come down. So I start at the edge of my scarf, that that smiley face scarf, and I'm going to go up and around. But if you go all the way around, that's fine. Okay, let's take a couple more seconds. Finish up the middle. Now for the top, watch carefully what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with my hat, but I'm going to start, I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to do the square first. Okay, so I just did the top of that square. Then watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to do around my oval, but I'm going to start here and I'm going to go around my oval and I'm going to end right there. I'm not going to draw that line right there. So I'm going to draw around and then stop. Now, if you kept going and drew that line, it's fine. We're just going to color right over it. It'll be fine. Now, for his head, I'm kind of going to do the same thing I did down here where I started at the edges of his scarf. This time, I'm going to start at the edge of his hat, and I'm going to draw around that snowball. And again, if you, this top line with your black marker, that's fine. We're going to color this hat black so it'll cover it right up. Okay, now we got a couple more things to do with our black. We're going to go ahead and do the dots of his eyes. And these are small, so you're just going to color this in with our marker. We won't even, the only thing we're going to need our black crayon for later is the hat. And then I'm going to do his smile. Don't do his nose yet. It's going to be orange. I'm going to do his buttons, and again, since they're small, I'm just going to color these in with a marker because they are small. We can color small things with a marker. We just don't color big things with a marker. Okay, so I did my ground line. I did the bottom snowball, the middle snowball, the top snowball. I did his hat, his eyes, his smile, and his buttons. I've done all of that with black. So once I'm done, I'm going to snap that cap, put my black marker up, and get my black crayon. And again, the only thing we're going to color with our black crayon is his hat. And you're going to color right over those pencil lines. Now my Sharpie shows through a little bit, but that's because I was using a pink Sharpie. But your pencil lines are going to cover right up. And it's almost even kind of hard to see my Sharpie lines. Once I color it black, I'm going to get his hat colored black. He's got a cute little top hat. And then once I'm done, I can take my crayon and put that back in my bag. And now I'm ready for my next step. So finish up his hat, put your black crayon up, and the next color we're going to need is a red marker. A red marker. And red is going to be his scarf. So I'm going to outline his scarf, and I'm actually just going to color it in because it's little. When things are little, we can color them in with a marker. When things are big, we color with a crayon. So I'm going to do his scarf with my red marker. So color in his scarf. When you're done with your red marker, you snap that cap, put your red marker up, and then we're going to do our next step. Okay, next thing we need is an orange marker. So find your orange marker. And the only thing in our picture that's going to be orange is his nose. So we're going to color in his nose with our orange marker. Because again, small things we can color with a marker. Big things we color with crayons. Once I've finished his nose, I snap that cap, Put my orange marker up, and then we're ready for the last marker we are going to need. And that is going to be a brown marker. Brown marker. Now, first thing we're going to do with our brown marker are his arms. Because they're sticks, and sticks are wood, and wood is mostly brown. So outline his two arms, but don't put your marker up yet. I need to zoom back out so I can show you the last thing we're going to do with our brown marker. So finish up his arms, and then I'm going to show you how to do these trees. Okay, because these trees are a special kind of tree. These trees are what we call birch trees. And birch trees are special because their bark isn't brown like an oak tree or a maple tree. Their bark is white. But the bark, where it grows, it'll split. Just like when you have a paper cut and your skin kind of splits open and you can see a little bit of the skin underneath, which is kind of gross but cool at the same time. The same thing happens to the tree. The bark splits and you can see the wood underneath, and the wood is brown, but the bark is white. How many of you guys have ever seen a birch tree before? How many of you have seen them in the woods? Because there's birch trees around here. We have birch trees here in West Virginia. So next time you see one, if you see a tree and its bark is white and you see those little splits in the bark, you can see the brown wood shining through. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our brown marker and we're going to trace around the outline of the tree, that Y we drew. So we're going to trace around both trees. So do both trees, and then I'm going to show you how to do the bark to make it look like a birch tree. Okay, so outline both of your trees. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit and see if I can keep both of my trees in the picture. Yes, okay, perfect. This is perfect. Okay, so if you see what I did, all I did was I took my brown marker and I made some diagonal lines going up my tree. Okay, so did they go all the way across? Nope, they just go a little bit. So I'm just going to take my brown marker and I'm just going to make some diagonal lines. And they don't have to be perfectly straight. They can be a little wavy. And I'm just going to go all the way up my tree and even on the branches. Okay, so just draw you some brown lines. Kind of almost looks like tiger stripes, doesn't it? Okay, so get those done on your first tree. And then we're going to do the other tree. Once you've done your first one, come over to your second one, and you're going to do your second one. And go all the way up, even on the branches, and add some brown lines to make them look like birch trees. And once you're done, you're going to take your marker and snap that cap. And then the last thing we're going to do is we are going to color the sky. Now, if you look at my picture, you can see how I've colored on either side of my trees and my snowman, and I even colored in between the V on my tree. So I'm going to take my crayon. I'm going to start with the V first. Blue crayon for the blue sky. And I'm going to color. Remember, we color lightly, we color neatly, we stay in the lines, and we fill up the whole space. Okay, so I'm going to color in between the V on both trees. And then I'm going to color on either side. Am I going to color the ground blue? No, because it's snow. We don't want to color snow blue. Snow is white. Remember, the lighter you press, the faster you can color. If you press down really hard, it takes a long time to color. But if you press really light, you can color really fast. Now, we got to be careful when we color around our snowman. So I'm going to go really slow around my snowman, because I don't want to accidentally color him in with my blue crayon. So I'm going to go around my snowman really, really slow, very carefully. Neat coloring. Around his hands and his arms. So I'm going to go all the way around him first. Okay, and once I've colored around my snowman, then I can start coloring fast again. Remember, don't color in your tree. Leave your trees white. And I'm going to take my picture and we'll switch it up, because sometimes it's easier to turn your paper a little bit. If you turn your paper, it's easier to color sometimes. It doesn't hurt your hand as much. If you try to keep your paper perfectly straight, then your hand's going to hurt. And we don't want our hands to hurt. I'm just going to keep coloring all around my snowman. Color the whole sky nice and blue. Pretty blue sky on a pretty snowy day. Okay, and once I'm finished, I can put my crayon up, and I have a nice, pretty winter landscape with some snow and some birch trees and a snowman. So, I hope you guys had fun, and until next time.